Pages 3 and 4 on Discovery Education for Rome are talking about transportation in Rome and the importance of their waterways, which are their seas and rivers around Rome. So they had one big important river called the Tiber, which provided them with fresh water. It provided them with irrigation for their farms. Remember, that is water for their farms, and drinking water for humans and animals. So it was a very important water source for them. They were also 15 miles from the Mediterranean Sea. So the Mediterranean Sea was considered a natural barrier for them because it would be harder for people, or invaders, I should say, to get to them because they'd have to travel from the Mediterranean Sea and 15 miles inland. It was connected to the Tiber River, so they still could use it as a water source, but it was harder for invaders to get to them because of the Mediterranean Sea. Rome's location on the Italian peninsula and its closeness to the Tiber River provided it access to trade routes on the Mediterranean Sea. So the Mediterranean Sea is by a lot of different countries, so they could use that to help trade with other countries. Trade was a very important part of life in ancient Rome. We talked about how they do have a lot of food, but when their population grew, and their empire kept growing because it was one of the largest of the time, they did need to have access to a lot more food and a lot of goods that they would get through trade. As trade moved through Rome, merchants, who are the ones selling things, gained power and wealth. So they became extremely important. Trade created opportunities for lower class Romans to become rich. So it's not just about the upper class people with the money. Merchants and artisans and people that are involved in trade, they also could get a lot of money. And as the empire continued to expand, it became difficult for farmers in Rome to produce enough food. So, as I had said before, their population just kept growing and growing because they were conquering and taking over more land. So, they would have to trade more. So, wheat was imported from North Africa, and olive oil was imported from Spain. They continued to need to trade in order to meet the growing demands of their growing population. So they're on the Tiber River. They are close to the Mediterranean Sea. Both of those created natural barriers for them so that they aren't invaded as much, but they also use them as a source for trading. Page 4 was about roads and bridges. So I don't know if you've ever heard the term or the phrase, all roads lead to Rome. That is because they created some of the best roads of the time, and they're actually, some of them are still used today, which it was a long time ago. So the fact that they're strong enough to still be used today is awesome. So as Romans fought and conquered new territories on and beyond the Italian peninsula, so as they are gaining more land, they built paved roads which connected those territories to Rome so that they have a way of transportation. So when they conquered a new land, they built a road leading to that land. The strength of Roman engineering is reflected in the construction of these roads. They are strong. They are built they have several different layers, and the top layers are often paved, just like we have today. They're still using some of them in Europe and the Middle East today. So the fact that the roads are still of good quality is amazing. In addition to roads, because we also have water, they also built bridges, okay, to connect the land and the territories across rivers and other bodies of water. Their bridges were also very strong. They were made of stone. They were very durable. And oftentimes they were big enough that boats could go underneath as well. So again, when they're gaining land, they want to be able to get to these other places, so they have good roads and bridges. Many of Rome's major construction projects, such as its roads, were built by soldiers. The roads were a priority for Rome's military because it was important for troops to be able to move quickly and easily get supplies from one place to the next. So they needed that transportation for their military. However, traders, messengers, and others also benefited from these roads. Traders were able to bring spices, jewelry, furs, perfume, and food from all over that area. So they're trading on the Mediterranean Sea, but they can also trade through the roads and the bridges.